Sports Plus, welcome na naman po sa isang episode na puno ng kwentuhan tungkol sa basketball. Pero syempre, real talk lang tayo dito. Pag-uusapan natin yung mga big plays at syempre hindi mawawala yung ating kwentuhan. This is SportsPlus Insider, easy lang. My name is Ira Pablo at samahan niyo ako ngayong gabi. Meron tayong dalawang mga kasamang sports analyst. I have here with me our resident strategist and tournament director, Dino Lee, at syempre ang ating expert analyst. At syempre inaasahan yung mga insights mong matitindi.
Gusto yung mabigat yung strategies.
Let's welcome Coach Hammer Antonio,
Alam
guys.
ko ba, akala ko ba easy lang tayo?
Pero,
strategist
oy,
eh.
just to be clear, hindi ako nabigay niya na.
Oh,
Na-pressure kayo ngayon sa intro.
Okay na ako sa Dino.
malalim yung, malalim yung,
Kailangan lang,
grabe.
ano na lang, diehard fan.
Oh, eto guys, pag-usapan natin, kakapasok lang ngayong hapon ha, maingay ito sa social media. UP Maroons player na nga ba si Lebron Francis Lopez? Mukhang B-League Japan bound na. Nabalita niyo ba yun?
I just heard it when I was going here kasi sobrang total disclaimer throughout the weekend, and since last Thursday, busy ako sa Miss Universe namin sa States. It's the NFL draft. So nung nakita ko nga ito, nagulat ako that Francis Lopez might go to the B-League. Ako, this has been my stand since I've been part of the SB Nation family. Wherever there is money involved, whoever bids the highest, you
Doon
follow
tayo.
the cheese. Doon tayo! Kasi hindi naman hanap buhay yan eh. And
That's right.
the contract will not always be there. You gotta follow the cheese. But if he needs to prove a little bit more in the college game, he can stay. But if it's too much to pass up on, he already has, how many championships is LeBron? Isa, no? Hindi siya kasama dun sa una. Oo, hindi siya kasama sa una. Nasa US pa siya nung post-pandemic. So he already has a college championship. He has a first runner-up. He has all the accolades that he can make in the college game. Might as well pursue the next level, which is playing in the pros. Especially now, may bagong rules sa B-League that they would want to get taller imports, taller Asian imports. So magandang maka-penetrate na agad siya sa league.
That's right. So Francis Lopez joins number of growing Filipino players na mas pinipili ng maglaro abroad. Ikaw, Dino,
Pero
what?
coach ang tanong dito, what does this say about our local professionals?
Ayan.
Ay, mas maliit pa kayo, bro, eh.
Oo.
Pag hanap buhay yan, di naman yan hanap patay. Kung hanap patay yan, kahit interbarangay papatusin. Pero malaki na nga bigayan sa
Ay,
interbarangay.
malaki yung bigay sa
Oo, sa liga
Kaya
nga.
if I'm not mistaken, single pa to ang marital status ni
Oo naman.
Francis Lopez is single. So, if
all the more.
it is lucrative, like if parehas kami na ay magay na who likes to travel and explore different cultures, so he has that opportunity to go to Japan.
At saka syempre,
Why not, diba?
the level of competition.
So,
Alam nyo.
I advocate because of the quality of the leagues that we have, and I think you can attest to that. I would push talaga na pumunta sila sa
Simple lang yan.
bayad eh. Exposure pa eh.
Baka malaki yung
It's a
offer.
no-brainer.
Malaki yung offer sa kanya ngayon. Pero di ba? I mean, not dropping names, but we've seen B-League guys playing in the MPBL. Why? It's about making that buck. I mean, it's professional eh. If you get paid higher here, you stay here. Kalokohan yun na
Or
sabihin
maybe-
natin loyalty.
or
Di
maybe-
totoo yun,
or
Brad.
maybe-
Di totoo yun. Wag mo-
Wait. Or maybe they didn't perform that well in the foreign league. That's why.
Pwede. Oh, yun yung
That's why
trade-off.
they're now in the MVP.
Exactly.
At saka yung usapang loyalty, pag yung basketball team
Hindi.
meron na mas magaling sa'yo, tingin mo loyal pa rin sila sa'yo.
Kaya nga.
Palitan
Hindi.
sila.
Wait. Yung comment, tatay mo, nag-PBA. Asawa mo, naglalaro.
Pre.
Ano pa sasabi mo?
Ako nasasagot sa'yo. Ako nasasagot. Bilang player, bilang conditioning coach, bilang coach sa pro. When you're playing at a high level, kaya nga ako, ang number one kong kinakampanya ngayon, tanggalin nyo na yung residency sa NC tsaka sa UAP. Kasi lahat naman yan tumatanggap ng allowances. You might as well invest the money now and let them play.
Hindi naman nare-regulate.
If they don't perform, cut them. Find another player. It's simple as that. Di ba?
And it's pretty evident na, di ba? May mga
Under the
offers
table.
talaga. May mga offers talaga.
Brad, hindi,
Ginagano niya pa
talaga.
sa ilalim.
hindi siya under the table. Okay?
Offers talaga.
Offer talaga.
Offers talaga.
On top of the table, nilalatag talaga.
Di ba?
Ay, yung bonus pa lang.
Ganun talaga.
Sarap.
That's the ecosystem
Hindi
that
ka
college
lilipat ng
players.
school, ganun ang in-offer sa'yo.
Kailangan protektahan mo rin yung brand mo as a school. So you can give signing bonuses, but if you can't perform, you gotta be cut. That's why I don't want the residency rule. So, we're recruiting players, we're getting a transfer portal, free agency.
You wanna parang copy the NCAA na.
Pre,
Parang transfer.
kung nilipat ka, ito yung contract mo. Gusto mo ma-retain yan, mag-perform ka. Pag hindi ka nag-perform, kailangan i-cut ka na.
Parang ngayon, di ba, 1 year residency ka, pero 2 years mawawala sa'yo eh.
Oo. So, ang babayaran...
Starting this off-season.
Kasi gusto nilang tratuhin na pro, hindi naman pwedeng one way lang ang pro. In contracts, there's always meeting of two minds. So, you gotta protect the brand that represents the money. So, if you're, let's say, the alumni or the benefactors that provide the financial backing for an athlete, so you might as well, kinuha na kita, maglaro ka na agad para makita na natin yung produkto mo. At pag hindi ka naka-perform, mahanap ka na yung performance. Simple!
This is just a testament to how much the UP program, UP basketball
At
program,
the budget, right?
compared to more than 10 years ago, di ba? So,
Brother.
Jamie Kapulangan, Francis Lopez.
Brother, tatlo lang ang kailangan mo para mag-champion sa college. Number 1, kailangan may magagaling ka coaches to develop. Number 2, nakakakuha ng magagaling na talent, nakaka-recruit. And number 3, kailangan may war chest ka. Meron kang pondo na consulting. One of those things, kahit may pondo ka, kung ban-ban mga coaches mo, di ka mananalo. Kung may pondo ka, magaling coaches mo, di magagaling yung player mo, di ka mananalo.
May pondo sa UP.
Sa lahat. Actually, sa lahat.
Kasama ko sa apps natin.
Medyo
Okay, may wallet
madumi.
dyan.
At di ka naman tayo.
Hawak mo.
Actually,
Aga mo pa para bukas na umaga.
Masakit ang ano ko eh. Saturday, Sunday.
Ay,
Saturday,
sweep.
tapos today.
Sweep ba ibig sabihin yan?
Sisweep ng Lakers yung next 3 games. Sabi ko dyan.
Nanood ka ba?
Last episode pa nung
Nanood ka ba? Nanood ka na lang.
Kayo. Next 3 games.
Brad,
Sweep ng Lakers.
Ay, 3 points lang kanina
Brad,
yung talo.
kain ka na marami ngayong gabi, tapos kain ka na marami bago yung game. Kasi marami kayo iiyak pagka ganyan yung...
Kaya ako may police.
May mga Lakers at 7 ba dyan?
Okay, to
May mga Lakers
to clear things, may isang panalong Lakers. So it's not a sweep.
Oo nga. Pero
But the
bakit
reason why I brought out the broom is because the next 3 games, which is 5, 6, 7, it's gonna be all Lakers. Do you agree, Coach?
may support ba dyan? May support ba dito?
Do I agree? Do I agree? I only believe what I saw in the past game. No adjustments. End game, ginamit na nila yung... Nandun na ba tayo? Nasa Lakers topping na tayo. Kasi baka mag-jump. Okay. So kasi basic lang yan eh. Basic, super basic. Na if you want to sweep the next 3 games, you have to, number 1, take care of Ant-Man. Number 2, you have to take care of your rotations. Kasi nung nag-small ball na sila, sinabayan na yung small ball ng Lakers. Even Luka can't even get an inbound pass. Yung mga game-winning plays na yun.
Ayun, may mga comments tayo. Sabi ni JP, let's go Lakers in 7. Diba? Wala, ano talaga, kapit until the end.
Until they lose game 5, there's still a chance. There's still a shot. Saka home court nila yan. Hindi mo iisipin pa yung 6 and 7. Just win game 5 at home, then it puts the pressure on the side of Minnesota. Kasi you have to close them out on the 6. Because if you don't, babalik yan sa game 7. You just have to win game 5 first. That's
Like, one game at a time. Sabi ni Carol, Barbadillo, Lebron, my glorious king. Ito pa, si Jello Castro. Sabi niya, LBJ pa rin. Diba? So, ang dami talaga natin. Philippines sa Lakers nation.
Lakers tayo. Para tayong extension ng California.
That's right.
But who was the best player on the floor? The past 2 games. Basic, 70 plus points, only 3 turnovers, 14 assists, almost 20 rebounds combined, and a big adjustment by the Minnesota Timberwolves was playing that small ball. Number 1, they had Naz Reid and Julius Randle as a power forward. KJ McDaniels can cover anybody. They can switch. Dante DiVincenzo was big in the past 2 games. So, alam ko, maraming LeBron fans. Ako, fan din ako ni LeBron, pero you gotta see how they would adjust. It remains to be seen how they would adjust on game number 5.
Sabi nito,
Yeah.
sige, go ahead. Meron tayong comment dito. Sabi ni Christian na Bakiran, sabi niya ramdam daw talaga yung pagkawala ni AD sa depensa.
Oo, ramdam yun. Tsaka kahit nandiyan dyan yun, injured yan. Hindi ako hater kasi totoo eh. Ano yung
But for you who want
That's
that
right.
to me, won the trade.
Of course, you got Luka Doncic. You
Kasi-
just secured the
Okay.
bag for your franchise.
Even if Lakers get knocked out in this first round, you have something to look forward to next
For the
season.
next season. That's it.
Paano mo ba tinitignan as a fan?
Ha?
As
So
a fan,
parang
tinitignan
tinatanggap
mo?
mo na naman
Sa
na
box office
mag-advance sa
lupa.
next round.
You have someone, when LeBron James retires, you have someone that you can sell tickets and sell it to the fans.
That's it. The Lakers
Someone
got
that
it.
can perform when it comes to the clutch time.
And at the end of the day, valuation lang yan. Again, it's a professional sports outfit. It's the NBA. It's the second biggest league in the world when it comes to sports. Of course, football / soccer is the number one sport in the world. Basketball might
Pinoy, it's the NBA.
pag Pinoy, NBA yan. So, negosyo eh. You get a top 5 player. I don't know what Dallas was thinking. We've discussed this ad nauseum nung previous seasons natin. You get a guy that would put the team on the map and would further improve the value of the organization.
Yes.
Na magbabankroll kasi every year tumataas ang value ng isang organization. You got LeBron who tips the scales everywhere he goes, tumataas ang value ng isang franchise. And then you compound it with Luka Doncic who would be out for blood next season. So it's must-see TV. Again, it's the TV deal, number 1. Number 2, it's the jersey and the merchandise sale, and it's good for the NBA because the Lakers, the Knicks, the Bulls, those are your brands eh. Na worldwide, pag nakita nila yung logo, uy, eto na agad. Ang kaibahan nun, yung Dallas kasi, yung merchandise nila is not it's not under the NBA. Yun yung ginawa ni Mark Cuban when he acquired the Dallas Mavericks in 99. So ngayon, mas lumalaki pa. It's good for the NBA, it's good for the fans, and of course, it's good for the pockets of the Bus fans.
And he wasn't number 1 to begin the season, yung jersey sales ni Luka Doncic, and he's now number 1. Nalipag na niya si Steph Curry at saka si LeBron James. So,
Ikaw kung Lakers ka, ikaw coach, sinong team mo sa
Me,
playoffs?
I just follow the money. I follow the money. Nag-hit ako Colston Loveland at number 10 and Tyler Warren at number 14. Tumaya ako doon. Hit.
sa draft picks.
Oh, hit yun. So I just
Wait,
follow.
wala akong NBA team, pero
doon ako sa panalo.
Chargers.
Wala, doon ako sa panalo. New England Patriots forever ako. Foxborough forever ako. Pero,
Okay.
but as an analyst, I can't pick teams. Of course, I love the Knicks. That's my team growing up. But as an analyst, I just follow the money. Whoever spends the most, whoever wins, kampi ako parati sa panalo.
Diba, real talk lang talaga.
Diba, easy lang eh, diba? I'm a die
Easy
easy
lang.
fan. I'm a die easy fan. Hindi ako die hard. Die easy ako. if you're performing well, I'm there. But the only teams that I cheer for is Coach Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots. Let's go!
Ako, Las Vegas Raiders ako pare.
Tom Brady, TV top forever.
Okay, bago pala at lumayo ang usapan natin,
Okay.
quick recap muna tayo sa mga nangyari sa ating sports world nitong mga nakaraang araw. Siyempre, mainit dyan yung football. Liverpool clinched the Premier League title with a commanding 5-1 win over Tottenham. So they now tie Manchester United with 20 English League titles. So this one is such a historic moment for the Reds. Ayan. So, lipat na tayo sa NBA playoff. Nag-iinit na eh.
Gusto ko yung copy mo kasi full disclosure. Hindi po ako nanonood ng Major League
Wait,
Soccer. Ibang
I think-
football yung pinanonood. So, ikaw ang nanonood niya, Rexham, di ba? Invested ka ba sa
Updated.
news?
Pero
Sometime.
I think hindi lang naman ikaw coach eh.
Oo.
Yung mga maraming Pinoy dyan.
Ang pinanonood ko lang eh. San Beda Football lang.
But
Congrats.
congratulations to the Liverpool.
Mhm.
It's not easy to win 20 championships in the Premier League, especially when you're competing against Manchester United, Manchester City. Yung mga ano yun, mga like, historic franchises na yan in the Premier League. But it just so happened, it's not really the sport for Filipinos. But congratulations.
We had Spurs. We had Spurs that we were competing. Nung mga nakahanap tayo ng Filipino.
Oo.
Inaantay ko may Filipino Martian o kaya Filipino na taga Jupiter na makalaro dun sa Ascals. But si Chippy Kaligdong lang yung pure Pinoy na nakita ko eh.
But
Saka yung
congratulations
Borromeo
also
brothers.
to the Wrexham FC owned by
Reynolds.
The husband of Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds.
Mr. Blake Lively. Yun daw yung tawag sa
Mr. Blake Lively. si Deadpool.
Yep.
Diba? They own a football franchise that has been promoted the past 3 years, and they're just one promotion away to the Premier League.
Alright.
Congratulations sa kanila.
Balik na tayo dito sa NBA. Ayan. Ang dami nangyari yesterday, today, this weekend. So pag-usapan natin lahat yan. Starting off with what happened sa East. So Miami Heat versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland crushed Miami 124-87 to take a 3-0 series lead. Ayan, so even without Darius Garland, the Cavs dominated from start to finish, led by Garrett Allen's 22 points and 10 rebounds. So now Cleveland leads the series again, 3-0. Indiana Pacers versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The Pacers dominated the Bucks 129-103. So this is such a big story. Damian Lillard went down early with a possible Achilles tendon injury. So this is gonna change the series a little bit. Indiana leads the series 3-1. So, Coach Hammer, I have a question for you. So, if you are part of the coaching staff of the Milwaukee Bucks, sabihin natin head coach ka ng Milwaukee Bucks, what are you going to do in order to turn things around for Milwaukee?
Number one, if I was the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, I would have been Adrian Griffin. I would have enjoyed all that bought out money and be enjoying these playoffs on my couch because Doc Rivers, it's on you. Malas ka talaga. Yun lang yun. Every time I mean, he had Kevin Garnett, but again, games need to be played. Giannis Antetokounmpo is the best player in that matchup. He has been putting up in the series almost 35 points, almost 35, 14, and 5. Amongst all the statistics, even field goal percentage, he is the top guy on that. But again, Damian Lillard had an embolism towards the latter part of the season, and then it looks like, from my perspective watching, it's an Achilles tear. So you're losing a mid-30s guy, potentially even next season. So if I was the coach, of course, I would still believe in my team. I would push it. But the bigger question is it time to move Giannis to get maximum amount of return for him? Yeah, because you're paying almost 120 million between these two guys. So you can't operate at that salary pinch if you're the Milwaukee Bucks. You have to think about your future. Again, you need to acquire as much draft picks. Sino ba yung mga teams na may pinakamaraming draft picks? So yun yung dapat tinitignan.
Well, para sa akin, I believe they're gonna lose this year. From most likely in the next week. Game 5, home floor ng Indiana Pacers. But to me, this started when they traded away Drew Holiday.
Yeah, easily.
To me, he is a better fit. Para sa akin, mas bagay kung Drew Holiday compared to Damian Lillard kasama si Giannis Antetokounmpo. And the reason why, if you take a look back, 4 seasons ago, ang champion was Milwaukee back in 2021. They had Drew Holiday, they had Chris Middleton, they had Giannis Antetokounmpo. Ngayon, wala na si Drew Holiday, wala na si Chris Middleton. Natira ngayon si Giannis Antetokounmpo. By binitawan nila si Drew Holiday, I said it. I don't agree with that trade. Tapos napunta pa kay si Drew Holiday dun sa Boston Celtics, which made them a much deeper team. Kaya sila nanalo ng championship last year. So to me, it started with that, and then it followed suit with what Coach Hammer was saying. Why did they fire Adrian Griffin?
They were leading the league.
Tapos, pinalit nila si Doc Rivers, who is a coach that I don't trust, who has lost a lot of series na...
Nalyamado siya na malakas
sila with the Clippers, with the Orlando Magic. So, I don't trust him. That's why wala na. Sorry na lang.
Pero lalabas mo ulit yung yung walis mo. Sweep na yun.
Nanalo ng isang
sweep mo na yung Cleveland. Sweep mo na yun. Sweep na yun, garahe na yun. Sige.
Yan
is the great Golden State.
Ayan, may comment ni Aram Valentino.
Aram, yung Giannis to Golden State, it's a pipe dream, but they spent so much draft capital on acquiring etong si Jimmy Butler and sila Buddy Hield. So I think it's sad to say this, but the team that has the most draft picks are the Oklahoma City Thunder. Sila yung may pinakamaraming draft picks ngayon. Yung war chest nila with Sam Presti and the building up this team, sila pa yung may pinakamaraming ammunition. So,
stacked up pala.
oh yeah, yung Paul George, Westbrook, at saka may isa, yung KD na trade na pinarlay nila ng pinarlay. It's a big thing for them.
Alright, ito, Detroit Pistons versus New York Knicks. New York escaped with a 94-93 win. But of course, there is some controversy around that because it's followed by the NBA officials admitting that they missed a crucial foul on Josh Hart in the final second. So now New York leads 3-1. So it's now do or die for the Pistons. Ito na naman usapang ano na naman.
Mga referees.
Usapang referee.
Oh, man tayo.
Nakaka-message ko na tayo.
Ang mga...
Ito, let's talk about officiating in the NBA. Let's talk
No way, hindi naman conclusive eh. Contact, ang talon.
I agree with coach kasi
Inconclusive. At saka, ang natutunan ko sa mga referees ng NCAA, pag medyo malabnaw yung tira, tapos iniwas mo, hindi nila tatawagan foul. Kailangan, kung buo yung tira, if you're going to take a jump shot, shoot it vertically. Clinach pa ni Tim Hardaway. So, hindi tatawagan eh. Kasi, it might be...
you're initiating a foul.
Exactly. On FIBA rules, if you're trying to veer away from the defender and the defender clips you, it's not considered a foul unless his whole momentum hits you. That's FIBA rules. So, if iniwas mo, tapos tinamaan ka, yun yung pwedeng i-let go.
You will have to look
Ayun,
at... Wait. You have... Sino ba yung... Ang may responsibility kasi dyan is yung lead na referee, which is yung nasa baseline. And I think based on his angle, parang inconclusive na may contact eh. So, usually talaga, pag hindi conclusive,
Meron ba
tatawagan niya.
Meron ba tayong telestrator? Usog ka, Ira. Kaya matignan niyo yung close out kasi. Pagka kumu-close out kasi, Ira, tira, kunwari ikaw si Kyle, titira ka. Hindi ka tatawagan ng foul pag dito ka tumalon. Yun ang turo ng mga Euro coaches eh. Kahit si Coach Tab. Pag kumu-close out ka, titira ng jump shot, ito foul. Pero ang challenge pagkilid, hindi talaga tatawagan yan. Kahit sa interbarangay, hindi dati sa paltok eh.
Saka given the angle, coach, di masyado
Di tatawagan.
conclusive eh.
Di tatawagan na sa amin ka na may foul. Suspended yung referee na yan, sure ball. Never ka amin sa bad calls. Kaya ayoko yung ginagawa lang yun, yung replay contest. Nawawala yung...
Well, for transparency purposes, ginagawa talaga yun ng NBA they review those crucial plays.
Actually lahat. Pero hindi nila sinasabi in public. Dapat hindi nila sinasabi in public. Kasi
You don't agree with that?
I don't agree with that. Kasi it gives, kinu-question naman na agad yung
Hindi na
integrity
sila
ng officiating.
credible.
That's number one.
Lalo playoffs
And
pa.
if you're an official, checks and balances mo yun eh. Yung boss mo dapat, yun nga.
NBA referees hindi.
Kaya nga, may mga mamimiss na calls. As a coach, may mamimiss na call, may matatawag na call.
The greatest shooter of all time, nag-meaning this kay Ibre.
Kaya may missed calls talaga. May missed calls, marami. Tsaka kung tatawagan nila lahat ng foul, hindi na maglalaro na maayos yung mga yan.
Well, the NBA has a coach's challenge, but they cannot challenge that because walang call eh.
Yun.
So lalo kang magmumukhang pag, di ba, binawi mo yun. So, but ang masakit doon on the part of Detroit is they had the chance to tie the series and then they're now down to 3-1. Heading into the home court of
Mag-agree ba kayo dun sa mga let go during dying seconds? Sabihin natin tinawagan ng foul yan tapos nanalo sila by free throws. Hindi parang ang pangit, di ba?
Baduy.
So meron tayong allowance for mga let go calls, lalo na kung dying seconds.
Kasi kung tatawagan mo lahat yan, pwede na yan sa GMA Sparkle. Yung mga player mag-aarte na lang lahat yan.
Seconds, correct. Kung wala tayong let go.
Yung sikat na nga tayo sa Pinoy Step eh. Yung Pinoy Step, arte ng ulo. Atawing ka ng mga... But again, going back to the context of it, if you're looking at the rules, the challenge was going to the shooting side. Ganun na lagi tinuturo. If you're going to close out, jump to the shooting side, but don't hit the jump shooter. Clearly, nakita mo nag-veer away si Tim Hardaway Jr.
Because he was trying to avoid
exactly.
si Josh Hart.
I-avoid niya, i-adjust niya. And ang kino-contest nila, the contact was on the hip. The moment that you veer away and change your shot, meron pa ring low verticality yung
Pero sa doon nga sa
defender.
report, sabi nung referee, sa live play, he felt it was a legal defensive play on the part of Josh Hart. Now, on the post-game review, there was body contact to be called the foul.
Referee ba ng NCAA yun? Referee! Oh!
Okay, dyan
Oy.
mga ka-SportsPlus, kung meron kayong mga opinions tungkol dun sa mga nangyaring tawag, or what do you guys think, mag-comment lang kayo dyan. And babasahin natin yan dito live na live sa ating
Lagi ako
program.
natatapat sa mga
But
officiating.
I'm just happy for Detroit kasi
Yeah, they won one.
it has been a long time. Sobrang tagal na talaga na hindi sila nakapasok ng playoffs. And ganito kang competitive, di ba? Against a number 3 seed in the New York Knicks.
Pero I have a gripe with the NBA. It's not Peyton Pritchard. It's Malik Beasley. 6th man of the year. Peyton
Pero
Pritchard.
bata mo, di ba?
Si Peyton Pritchard. O bata ko pero bro.
Oregon Ducks.
Ito naman, the Boston Celtics versus the Orlando Magic. Boston steamrolled the Magic 107-98 with Tatum dropping 37. So they now look like heavy favorites in the East. Boston leads 3-1. Now it's also do or die for the Magic. So the Boston Celtics are the reigning champs. Pero do you think kaya nilang mag-back-to-back or parang medyo maingay?
They were the favorite before the season began.
Yeah.
After they won the championship, they were already the favorites coming into the season. Just maganda lang yung nilalaro ng OKC Thunder, kaya sa odds number 2 sila. But sa akin talaga, for me, the team with the best chance of winning the championship is the Boston Celtics. It's just that, hindi sila pag-uusapan kasi hindi sila nasa West. And yung mga sikat na players sa NBA nasa West. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Anthony Edwards, Jason Tatum, he may be considered an all-star, but he doesn't have an effect like Steph Curry.
Box office. If you want to be the man, you have to beat the man. Diba? Sorry, Flair. Boston is a well-oiled machine. The way that they're defending towards the latter part of the season and the way that they're getting the healthy bodies.
Di pa nga naglaro si Drew Holiday.
Oo. Brad, hanggat hindi na susolusyonan yung corner crush ni Jaylen Brown at saka ni Drew Holiday, hanggat hindi na susolusyonan yung pick and roll defense ng Jason Tatum to Peyton Pritchard in the end game, na pag pumap si Jason Tatum, magkaka-switch na maliit. Tapos mamamain lang niya na parang naglalaro ng interbarangay sa Pilipinas. Wala eh. It's a
Malalim.
Exactly.
Pero next season, you're gonna hit the second apron because of the contracts of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum hitting next year.
Basta nagcha-champion, basta may bumibili ng tickets, dahil pag tumataas ang hit nila yung apron, tataas na naman yung viewership. Next
But
year,
they can sustain that.
Exactly.
They can sustain
Next
that.
year, tataas na naman yung TV deal. It's when the new TV deal
76
kicks in.
billion for 11
Exactly.
years.
And the crucial part here is karamihan ng NBA games will be via subscription
Live stream.
and live stream. So show me the money.
Amazon ba or Apple?
Diba?
Diba?
Apple ata, you know?
Hindi, diversified nila eh.
Oh.
Hindi lang, maraming
Wala si TNT.
Oo.
NBC is gonna come in.
Exactly.
Yung Rumble Rap na back in the 90s. Obviously ESPN. And then may streamer, I forgot eh. It's
Hindi
either...
ba Hulu?
Hindi. Either Amazon or Apple.
Either
Amazon pala. Sorry. Amazon. Apple kasi nandun yung Major League Soccer.
Kaya nag-lead pass na lang ako para diretso na siya sa phone. Kita mo pala.
Ito alam ko kung saan nanonood.
Basta ako sinend ko sa kanya yung link kung saan ako nanonood. Basta ang importante,
Tayo
ang mahalaga, nasusustain nila yung winning team, and of course,
And recently, they were sold.
yeah, exactly. So everybody loves winners. Everybody would want to be part of a winner. Again, merchandise sales, anything and everything that has that leprechaun logo, it would funnel in sa kanila.
O diba, kung sa East, grabe na yung banggaan, syempre hindi magpapahuli yung ating Western Conference. At ito na nga kung bakit may walis kanina, si Dino. The Memphis
Ano ba pwedeng
Grizzlies
iwalis?
versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. So the OKC completed the sweep over Memphis with a 117-115
Di kita
win.
inaano
Di ako
So,
Walis lang ako dito.
Di ako naniniwala, di pa gamit
led
eh.
the Thunder with 38 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists. So, injuries continued to hurt the Grizzlies, who couldn't slow down OKC's attack down the stretch. So, OKC advances to the conference semifinals. So, sila yung kauna-unahang team na nag-advance for our second round. Okay. So, ito na pag-usapan niya ng konti, a little bit. What do you think is the next for Memphis? So, Morat is a superstar, pero paano ba gagaling yung mga teammates niya while playing with him? So, si Jackson parang naramdaman niyo ba during the playoff series?
Jaren Jackson Jr. is somebody that would provide a lot of things for you. He can't be the fulcrum of your offense. You need to surround Ja Morant with shooters. Number one, laking bagay na nawala sa kanila si Dillon Brooks. It provides toughness, it provides outside shooting, and the moxie that they need. Because if you're playing with just Desmond Bane and some newer guys na hindi pa subok, yun talaga yung mangyayari. And it's a bad matchup for them. Kasi for everybody naman, bad matchup sa Oklahoma City. But with OKC kasi, they have so much talent in all positions. Pero isa lang yung trump card kasi sa Oklahoma City, yung Denver. Kasi Denver has size. And Denver can bang with them. So, pag nakalusot yung Denver, di ba number 4 and 5 ang Denver, di ba?
4 and 5.
So, yan ang makakatapat nila. So, that might give them a different kind of challenge. Kasi
But you're not sure.
Yeah, yun nga. Kasi ang ganda na ako, Clippers nga ako dun eh. But for the most part, SGA and the whole crew has been built for this playoffs for a long time coming. They're a young squad, they're a hungry squad, and it's reminiscent with that Oklahoma nila KD, Harden, and Westbrook when they went to the finals.
Back in
2012.
2012 against the Miami Heat. Well, for Memphis, I think no one was surprised with the sweep. Kasi they fired Taylor Jenkins
Prior in the playoffs.
Parang ano lang din yan si Mike Malone for the Denver Nuggets. Pero mas nauna si Taylor Jenkins. 9 games left in the regular season. He got fired. So parang I wasn't surprised kasi you're coming into the playoffs with a different coach, different mindset, different approach. Talagang, and you're going up against the top team, one of the top teams, which is the OKC Thunder. I think they're the number 1 defense in the NBA right now by a mile. So, this is nothing surprising. And I think the off-season, there's a chance for them to regroup and figure it out how they want to move forward. Kasi laking bagay na wala si Dillon Brooks back in 2023, 2 seasons ago, 2 off-seasons ago. And then, wala. Well, sikat pa rin si Ja Morant because of his celebration. Kahapon nga lang, may kino-cover akong...
For all the wrong reasons.
Pataw na siya ng kung ano man yung binabato.
Denver even the Nuggets with 36 points, 21 rebounds, and 8 assists. So Aaron Gordon secured the victory with a buzzer-beating dunk off of Jokic missed 3-pointer. Ang tingin ko nga, alley-oop talaga yun eh.
Siyempre, nasalo eh.
Di ba?
Basta na shoot.
Hindi na yun.
Basta
Hindi na yun.
Wala na.
Was really attempting the shot. Akala ko alley-oop. Ako nakita ko
Ito sa tied ball game eh.
Oo.
Ito sa tied ball game eh. So I don't think sadya talaga yan.
Ito, tingin mo ba counted?
Yes, counted for me yan.
Counted. Nasa
Counted
cylinder
for me.
na eh.
Kasi iba yung jump shot eh. Yun kasi,
Hawak na niya, pero nandun na yung bola eh. Wala na ibang
sa loob
pupuntahan
na eh.
yung bola.
Counted talaga
Correct,
yan.
correct.
Counted talaga. No questions.
Miss box
Okay,
out.
meron pa tayong mga comments dito.
Yeah, finals ng laban. Kasi healthy si Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard.
Laking bagay.
Oo.
Si Kawhi, pagka kumuha kasi ng player na Kawhi, yung ganung klase, una asahan maglalaro ng regular season. Yun yung understood na kay Kawhi. He doesn't like playing in the regular season.
Talaga?
Pero when the chips are down and it counts to get wins, I will bet on Kawhi.
Why
Yes.
does Kawhi Leonard get away with it? Tapos si Anthony Davis
he wins
sobrang...
championships.
Like anything in life, pag magaling ka, may leeway.
Oo.
Pag magaling ka, merong leeway. Magaling eh.
He won a championship sa San Antonio. Tapos first season niya sa Toronto, champion sila. Tinalo nila yung Golden State.
Bubuo ka lang ng team ng mga
Nag-champion
bata.
na naman si Anthony Davis.
Iba si Kawhi.
Iba yan.
Kung
Terminator.
pinapili mo, better way defender.
Kawhi.
Kawhi.
Kawhi Leonard by a mile. Kahit na parehas silang injury prone. Pero if Space Jam corollary, one possession to save the earth, I'll pick Kawhi. against the Monsters.
Sama-sama kayo ni Kyle. Puro kayong mga kaway. Wala kayo.
Dumidepensa kasi. Tsaka hindi nagre-reklamo pag may masakit, pero hindi maglalaro next game. Pag kailangan manalo, maglalaro. Pag times 2 yung bonus.
I think, isa sa mga podcast in the States na napag-usapan why Kawhi Leonard gets injured a lot. Ang balita was, he practices so hard that he gets injured. Sobrang hard niya mag-practice.
Sinasabi lang nila yun, ayaw lang niya maglaro. Ayaw lang maglaro. Baduyin.
Dino Williams ata nagkwento.
Ang dami kasing games, di ba? So, parang ang sinasabi ni Trae Young, kung magkakaroon pala tayo ng play-in, di muna tayo maglaro ng 82, mag-play-in na lang tayo. Di ba? Ganun lang kasimple yan eh. So, ako feeling ko kasi si Kawhi, yung mga veterano okay lang tayo, relax lang tayo, pero pag playoffs na, scorean kitang 40, wala kang magagawa. Kita mo, parang hindi na ACL di ba? Dumidepensa ng last possession, wala bro, di.
Ito yung mga comments natin. From Marcos Medina, sabi, lakas ni Coach Nikola Jokic. From Lawrence Lee, Nuggets, pero unpredictable ang West.
True.
Boston and Cavs na
Yes.
Yan.
Wala sa bago dyan like, the West will always be the West. It will be tough first round all the way to the conference. And ang East, it's always a cakewalk.
Ito may nag-comment ng emoji, si Nico. Nico, pag may opinion ka, meron kang mga gustong ilabas dyan, mapahayag mo. Comment ka lang dyan.
This next
Emoji,
topic,
hindi namin
right?
mabanggit yung emoji. Eto na.
Wait, sino si Nico?
May nag-comment
Ah,
ng
Nico.
Nico emoji yung nilagay. Okay. Golden State Warriors versus the Houston Rockets. So the Warriors took a 2-1 series lead with a 104-93 win over the Rockets. So Stephen Curry led the way with 36 points, 9 assists, and 7 rebounds. Despite missing Jimmy Butler due to injury, Golden State got key contributions from Buddy Hield, 17 points, and Gary Payton, 16 points, helping them pull away in the fourth quarter. So ito pag-usapan natin. Sa nagkulang yung Rockets and how did the Golden State manage even without Butler?
Basic lang to. Alam mo, itong Golden State na to may tulog to sa Houston. Kasi I really like Houston. Number one, if they use yung contra-death lineup, how do you beat a team? Paano nahihirapan tong Golden State? If you put size and athleticism. So, Thompson, Jalen Brown, Dylan Brooks, plus Steven Adams and Stengun. Bakit? Yung stretch nila na ginagawa, there's this one breakdown that I was doing throughout the Holy Week. How can offensive rebounding make value dun sa mga big guys? Kasi if you get, di ba, historically, Steven Adams Steven Adams is now, nagtala siya ng pinakamaraming offensive rebounding rate in the history of the NBA. So if you use two big guys, si Sengun nakaka-switch sa labas. Kayang challenge sa labas. They need superhuman effort from Steph Curry every time. Tapos wala kang Jimmy Butler. Wala kang na Klay Thompson.
So what you're trying to say is ilalagay si Steven Adams.
Yun ang gagamitin ko.
Kasi hindi naman
shoot ni Draymond Green Makikipag-away lang. Hindi naman yawan. Floater siya. Siya yung nagsusweep, siya yung kukuha ng rebound kasi hindi naman siya
Paano na-switch siya
Okay na ako, ibigay ko na. Basta hindi nila si-scheme na si Steph ang magsuswitch sa kanya kasi ang ginagawa nila
Steven Adams.
Oh yeah. I trust them. I would trust them on the defensive end just by the mere fact of shutting down extra possessions and just challenging shots. And if walang Jimmy Butler, ito yung key if walang Jimmy Butler, who would get offensive rebounds for the Golden State Warriors?
So you're gonna pipilit mo yung big lineup para lumaro dun yung Golden State.
Kasi yun yung pinaka-potent nila na lineup If you're looking at the advanced stats ng Houston, they're very good whenever
So yung gagamitin si Fred VanVleet, rotation.
Okay, mas gusto ko si Fred VanVleet kaysa kay Jalen Brown. Hindi ko gusto talaga si Jalen Green. Green. For some odd reason, si Jalen Green, Jordan Poole, tsaka si Kelly Oubre. Yan tatlong yan, hindi ko talaga gusto. Hindi ko talaga sila gusto kasi yung decision making nila, pag nandoon sila, bumababa yung nagiging net negative sila. They're very good scorers, but if you're watching it, they provide friction to the flow of the offense ng teams kasi they attack on different slices of the floor. If you slice the floor into 4 spots, kaya nasisira yung spacing ng Houston. Pag umaatake si Jalen Green, minsan napupunta siya dun sa spots na yung mga shooters hindi nakakahunt ng open spot, yung mga crash boards hindi nakakapunta. Tapos may Jabari Smith pa sila na may size that can shoot from the outside. Dapat yung mga players kasi na attackers can attack on their size and engage the offense. Kaya nadidepensahan sila ng Golden State. Kasi ang Golden State plays percentages, takes away shots na gustong-gusto ng mga attackers. That's what they've been doing the whole season. And if you want to look at that stats, download din niyo yung app, tignan niyo yung differential ng mga shots na nakukuha ng Houston during the regular season, Coach Tokto, tapos tignan niyo rin yung nakukuha nila against Golden State. Tinatanggal nila yung mga attacks.
Hindi ka diehard fan sa lagay na yun.
Wala kasi-
Download ka pa ng stats.
Hindi kasi,
tapos,
hindi ko dinahulog
hindi ka
yan.
daw- easy lang, no?
And
Easy
David
lang.
kasi sa akin yan, kasi habang karga-karga ko yung anak ko, nagbe-breakdown ako. Dati nag-weights ako eh. Kyle, ikaw naunahan mo na ako mag-weights ha. Nag-weights ako dati, tapos may whiteboard ako. ADHD ako, kailangan nagno-notes ako, tapos nanonood ako ng game.
Ano ba, Ira? Ano yan? NCAA champion yan si Coach.
Hindi, sabi ko,
Three
fan sa lagay na yun.
Hindi, kasi I like watching it eh. Parang tignan mo yung LA. Bakit nila pinipilit yung limang yun? Kasi they find spots that they can take advantage of Rudy Gobert.
Yan yung ating next
Oo.
topic. So, the Los Angeles Lakers versus the Minnesota Timberwolves. Minnesota took a 3-1 series lead with a 116-113 lead. Anthony Edwards exploded for 43 points. Tapos ito, let's talk about this one. Coach JJ Redick refused to make substitutions in the second half despite Edwards scoring spree. So ito na, what do you think about this one na walang sub-sub?
Kaya nga
Sa
nagpapakondisyon eh.
Well,
Kaya ka nagpapakondisyon eh.
ako, you have to trust whatever JJ Redick did in this Game 4. Kasi from last year, under kay Darvin Ham, they were 47-35. They finished as a 7th place team. Naging play-in team sila. They had to play in the play-in tournament to a 3rd seed at 50-32 going to the series. Saka, wag natin, sinabi ko rin last episode, itong Minnesota Timberwolves, 1 game apart lang sila sa standings.
Oo.
49-33 sila, 50-32 ang LA. So, this is, and they split the season series 2-2 during the season. Four times sila nagtapat eh. So,
Oo.
hindi mo pwedeng to take for granted itong Minnesota Timberwolves just because they're number 6 seed. Okay? So, the West is really stacked from first round all the way to the semifinals. Now, pwedeng sabihin na against JJ Redick, ako sa akin, I trust JJ Redick. Kasi hindi pa naman sila tanggal eh. They just have to win Game 5, put pressure on the Minnesota Timberwolves sa Game 6 to close out a LeBron James and a Luka Doncic who is not new to these situations. Okay?
Spoken like a true
But-
Lakers fan.
But on the opposite end, ang pwedeng criticism dyan is walang tiwala si JJ Redick dun sa ibang players. That's why he had to play those 5 players. But to me, he has brought us to this point. Number 3 seed ka, you still have a chance of making it. And hindi naman bago si LeBron James sa 3, down 3-1.
Pag-usapan natin yung Minnesota, can you talk about the difference of the team na merong Ant, Gobert, Randall versus ngayon Ant, Gobert, and Kat?
Well,
Ay, di, baliktad.
okay. So, when you're comparing Karl Anthony Towns, who was an All-Star, with Julius Randle, who's also an All-Star, number one, there are 2 different type of players. Kasi si Kat, na-adapt na niya na he is not a post-up scorer, he's an outside shooter, stretch 5. He rebounds, he rim protects. Si Julius Randle is an attacker. That's number 1. Okay, so 2 different types of players. The luxury, kaya sila nakapasok sa Western Finals last year, was the matchup. You build up 3 big guys against Nikola Jokic. Yun yung recipe to at least contain the production of Nikola Jokic. Mapagod siya. Ganun yung ginawa ng Lakers. Yun na nung meron silang Dwight, meron silang JaVale, and sino pa yung isa nilang big man? Dwight, Anthony Davis. Yung tatlong yan.
JaVale pa.
Oo, nung JaVale. Yan kasi, it's always about favorable matchups.
Sorry, nawala ako dun sa comment eh.
But now,
Nakakatawa yung mga comment.
But now, with the Timberwolves, again, babalikan ko, Coach Tok, attacking your slice. 4 spots, you have one guy who is a rebounder underneath pag nandoon si Gobert. Pag nandoon si Randle, 2 attacker, Anthony Davis. Jaden McDaniels and Dante DiVincenzo, knockdown shooter. Pag pinapasok din yung, ang pangalan ng guards nila, I think it's Mike Conley pa rin ba?
Mike Conley, Jaden,
kaya nilang itago sa corner.
Alexander Walker.
Outside shooters that can defend. Pag tinanggal nila si Randle, pinasok nila si Gobert, this is where the value of Nasri comes in. Nasri dribbles very well, can engage the offense from the elbows to the outside, can be an attacker or a point of an attacker or a fulcrum when he goes for that handoff, when he's in a screen action. Laging nagkakaroon ng choice yung depensa. That's what you want when you're running an offense. You want to put people on their heels if they're defending. Si Gobert is a rim protector that you can start. He would provide you 14, 15 points just running and getting boards. But in the end game, kung babalikan natin, last 4 minutes, it was Nasri, McDaniels, Randle, Anthony Edwards, and si Dante DiVincenzo. Kaya importante na nakuha na si DiVincenzo dun sa trade na yun. Kasi he's also an attacker, but he is a very good 3-point shooter. That's what the game is now eh. So, 5 out sila pagka nandoon yung Nasri.
Gusto ko lang isingit na 2 seasons ago, when we were talking about this trade, sabi ko, Minnesota, panalo pareho si New York Knicks saka Minnesota. Minnesota made this trade for financial reasons because of the contract of our
expiring din si Julius
Randle. So to me, gusto ko lang, I just feel good na Minnesota is in this situation. Yun nga lang, kalaban kasi yung Lakers eh, but
at saka,
just for them to
hindi,
be
at saka yung, it's just a matter of finding pieces that fit. Kasi all the other guys that are surrounding Anthony Edwards are not ball dominant players except for Julius Randle. And on the turning point of this season, si Julius Randle accepted the role of sometimes coming off the bench, sometimes starting, being a secondary ball handler and attacker.
I think it's just the luxury of the rotation. Yung iba-iba yung skill set kasi
exactly.
Gobert,
kaya
Nasri, tapos may Julius Randle ka, tapos sa guards mo, dahil mo naiikot, Miguel Alexander Walker, Dante DiVincenzo.
Ang problema ng Lakers ngayon, nung regular season, ang taas ng shot attempts from 3 ni Anthony Edwards. But in this series, ina-atake niya lahat. Kahit siguro si JJ Redick yung dumobol doon, he would just go there. Ilan? 17 free throws last game? 17 or 18?
Bayan, Lakers in 7. Ano ba ang sagot? Basahin natin yung mga
Lakers
comments.
in 5 sa Boracay.
Sabi ni Louis Bern Santos, Lakers in 6. 6 years. Grabe naman. Huwag naman yung 6 years bago mag-champion ulit. Freddy Rosal, 4-1 Wolves.
Sige. Hindi pa naman tayo tapos.
Hindi pa tapos.
Sabi ni Selander Rodriguez, talo ang Lakers nyo dahil
hindi naman. Inadvertent call. Kaya ayoko talaga yung mga replay na yan na may ino-overturn na tawag. Lalo na pag endgame. Iyakin eh. Pagka, yun, walang tawag eh. No call. No call. Let go yun eh. Kasi nung pinasok nila yung mga action replay, meron nga yung point of contention yung mga teams. Nawawala na yung the art of officiating. Diba? May mga calls na nami-miss. Tulad nun, na-miss. May inadvertent contact eh. Inadvertent contact. Umatake ng head down si Anthony Edwards. Nadulas. Nawala yung bola. Tapos tatawagan nila na nahampas. So, okay, manalo ka kung kailangan mo manalo. Pero lagi sinasabi ng mga coaches ko, kung ayaw mo umabot sa ganun, gawa mo na ng paraan bago pa humantong.
Sa akin, even if they lose this series, which I don't think they will.
Talaga, 3-1.
They have a lot to look forward to for the next 10 years. For the next 10 years. Because Luka Doncic is just 25 years old. LeBron James still looks like he is 25. So, masaya next season kasi full season ka na merong Luka Doncic.
Okay.
And they're gonna still sell a lot of tickets.
At bibigay kayo ng inyong opinion. Ayan. At bawal dito ang safe answer, mga ka-Sports Plus. Ito na ang ating pinaka-aabangan. Mainit-init pa. Hot. Dino and Coach. Sino ang mga dark?
Alam mo na
Their team is constructed, how youthful their players are, how good their coach
Do you
is.
feel like they can get to the finals?
This year,
Bakit
kaya nila pumasok sa conference finals.
mo sinabing that?
Well, number one, Ime Udoka built the Boston Celtics. That's number one. He should have been the coach of that squad. Kung hindi lang dahil sa hindi na natin we would not get into that dahil hindi po tayo sports and chismis show. Ano tayo? Sports show tayo. I love kasi dito, boy. With the way that their team is constructed, they're very youthful. They might have a puncher's chance for a conference finals. They're built like a tank. They need more reps. But I think they're a dark horse. Yun yung personal pick ko. Heart pick ko yan eh. Alam niyo naman na ang aking NBA past pick, etong Houston tsaka Orlando. Yan dalawang yan eh.
Nilabas na ba yung finalist ng Coach of the Year?
Di pa yata.
But,
hindi ko alam kung kasama si Ime Ibudoka eh.
Si JJ doon, no?
Ang laki ng improvement kasi ng Houston. But ako for West, just for my own kagustuhan, gusto ko makita yung Houston kasi gusto ko yung dalawang bigs. Ang hindi ko lang talaga gusto na si Jalen Green. Pinuhingi siya pero low efficiency player eh.
So kung ako West, dahil down na sila 3-1.
Lakers ka pa rin.
Pero
Lakers in
outside of the Los Angeles Lakers. Kasi down 3-1 ka rin. So parang basically you're the underdog by the looks of it. I think the Clippers.
Oh, yan.
Clippers.
Yung dalawang yan talaga.
Clippers. Dark horse.
Cyborg.
Pagdating sa playoffs, how important is it na papasok na dyan
Wait,
yung...
wala pa tayo sa East.
wala pa. Sige. Clippers, tsaka...
Sa East ako.
Sa East
Houston
pa.
ako. Sa Clippers.
Sorry, na-excite.
Lakers, Clippers ako Houston. Gusto ko yung Houston and Clippers
Sa
din eh.
East pala,
Sa East, yung Orlando gusto ko kasi sila maglaro, but they won't be beating the Boston
wala
Celtics.
kang cuts eh, tsaka yung mawag
No,
ng
eh.
key rotational players mo this year.
Hindi mo naman pwedeng sabihin dark horse ang Cleveland kasi number one
Number one sila.
and they're very
Ako wala akong dark horse sa East. Eh. Kailan ba nagkaroon ng dark horse sa East? Last year na naman, alam naman natin, Boston talaga yung finals.
wala
Wala akong
tinitignan ko
dark
rin
horse sa
yung I mean the Pacers look
Sino
good.
natalo ng Boston tsaka ng Cleveland? Sila naman talaga magtatapat
Oo.
yan ng
Yan talaga kasi Pacers and Cleveland, that would be an interesting
Boston New
matchup.
York, that's probably gonna be a sweep. 4-0 yan.
Baka mukhang ano rin yan.
Cleveland, Indiana,
Cleveland.
pwedeng in 5.
6, so mga ganyan, 5-6. But West is
Wala,
very
wala.
interesting
Oo,
dahil
West
yung ilagay mo si Kawhi Leonard on a situation that he needs to take care of business, he will do it.
Okay, ngayon, usapang playoffs tayo. How important is it na papasok na dyan yung veteran leadership, tapos yung mindset? How important is it na sinabi mo to eh, larong pagdating ng playoffs, larong veterana na to eh.
Hindi mo kailangan ng ano dyan, ng kung ano-ano. Maraming sinasabi ito, kailangan meron kang mental coaching, kailangan meron ka mga ito. The ones who have been there knows what it takes. That's number one. And number two, ang pinaka-importante sa lahat na nakita ko nag-champion na team, they're the healthiest team. Because your best ability is your availability. If you're not available, I don't care. If you're an all-pro, if you're an NBA first-teamer, if you can't wear that jersey, you're zero. Wala ka mapoprovide na leverage for your team. So if you have the healthiest team and you have guys who have been there and can take care of business and stay locked in possession by possession, process-oriented. Winning is process-oriented. You need to hit your metrics and at the end of the day, mas maganda ang chances mo manalo.
If you wanna talk about the playoffs, panoorin niyo yung podcast ni LeBron James and T. Nash talking about that a different animal na yung playoffs compared to the regular.
Wala kang pwedeng itago eh. Lahat, everything that you're doing is in film. Your habits have been scouted for the longest time. They would take away your strengths. And ang mga nag-champion na team kasi merong 4th or 5th scorer na nagkakaroon ng breakout sa playoffs. Tapos sila yung mga pumipirma sa ibang team. Di ba? Parang Bruce Brown. Yung mga ganyang example. Yung mga after they make a name of themselves, might be a contract year or teams will be trading for them. Tapos ilipat sila, bigger opportunity, and then magugulat yung mga teams na, oh, bakit hindi ganun yung production? So, yun yung mga nagdidictate. May maraming factors.
Alright, ang init ng opinion natin dito sa Hot Takes, walang preno, walang safe answer. Pero teka mga ka-SportsPlus, hindi pa dito natatapos ang gigil natin ngayong araw dahil kung sa Hot Takes, malalalim ang analysis dito sa ating susunod na segment, bibilisan naman natin. So, mabilisang sagutan, bawal kabahan, bawal mablangko, ito ang isila. Ayan, mga ka-Sports Plus, oras na para sa paborito nyong pressure cooker segment, easy lang. Pero teka lang, medyo ironic to, kasi yung mga tanong, hindi siya ganun kadali. Okay? So, pero ganito lang kasimple ang instructions natin. Bawat tanong, bawat panelist, may 24 seconds kayo para sumagot. Kung lumagpas kayo, automatic meron niya tayong gentle roasting. Walang lulusot, walang iyakan, easy lang dapat. Kaya ready your takes, ready your timers, dahil shoot or miss, wala nang bawi. Let's roll. Question number 1. Should the Lakers fire JJ Redick after this playoff collapse? Yes or no? Ayan. Ready?
Hell no! Oh my goodness! But they pa-fire kasi because of just early exit sila against a team that went to the Western Conference Finals last year, beating the defending champions Denver Nuggets, taking out the Phoenix Suns. So to me, you keep JJ Redick because he has done really well for the Los Angeles.
Technical, sobra! yung tatawag din ng 24 seconds, referee ng NC.
Okay.
Yari mo.
Alright.
Humingi pa
Same
ng
question
mainit
ba
talaga.
kay Coach?
Same question din ba sa akin?
Hindi.
Okay.
Okay. So, meron tayong another question para dito kay Coach Homer. Meron tayong mga comments dito. Basahin natin yung mga comments. Sabi ni Joe Box, huling nag-champion Lakers, naka-face mask pa ang lahat. Gumaya kasi sa Warriors, ang Lakers small ball. Ang Warriors, matagal ng sistema nila yan at umiikot ang players. Sabi ni Alvin Aquino, Lakers early vacation, that's it. Yung question naman, assuming natin na may eliminate nga. Okay, pero meron pa tayong game 5.
Ano ba tawag dito? I never saw this coming.
Lakers in 9.
Wilmer, mahina na
Hindi
Lakers.
maganda ang pagpasok ng April ko kasi ganda na sana nung February nung na-trade na si Luke. Napunta na si Luke sa Lakers.
Manalig ka lang. May Bronny James ka naman eh. Manalig ka lang.
Next year, babawi tayo.
Manalig
Pero,
ka lang, Brad.
wait, game 5 pa.
Game 5
lang.
pa. Game 5 pa.
Kain ka na
Alright.
marami.
Coach Hammer, ready
Yes,
ka na ba?
go.
Question for Coach Hammer. How would you improve officiating in the NBA in order to avoid a repeat of what happened with the Pistons and the Knicks game? You have 24 seconds. Timer starts now.
Well, very basic. You have to call it at the start of the game pa lang to set a standard. You have to sustain your calls. You have to stay on the line and be ready to make calls and let the players play. It's basic. Playoffs, let the players play.
Oh, di ba? Easy lang.
Let the players play.
Alright, meron ba tayong nakuhang comments from our...
Wala, Pilipino.
May
Lahat
comments
ng
mga
lahat ng
ka-Sports Plus.
Pilipino galit sa referee.
Pwede kayong sumagot
Walang-
dito sa ating mga
walang
easy
Pilipino.
lang question.
Wala, yung mga ang mga
Kinaigin na test na
Oo.
kasi nagpapatakbo ko ng liga.
Di ba?
Saturday.
ano, di ba? Parang hindi lagi kasi ang officiating is the thing that dictates the quality of the game.
That's right.
So if you're not on top of the officiating, lagi kang kukwestiyonin. Kaya hindi ako nagpapaliga. Ayaw ko magpaliga, kaya ako nagkukwestiyon.
Siyempre yung players, they feel the contact, kumbaga, kung pinaul sila. Pero kasi yung referees, they play at a certain angle. So may mga angles yan na sinasabi ni Kobe Bryant na hindi nakikita blind spots na hindi nakikita ng referees. Kaya galit na galit yung some of the players. Pero sa totoo lang, dahil inconclusive, hindi tinatawag ng referees. Yun. So, one of the hardest jobs in sport is pagiging referee. So ako, honestly, dahil I'm running a corporate league, ang challenge ko sa mga players, try nyo mag-referee. Just for once.
Medyo mahirap.
Mahirap talaga.
Alright, meron tayong third and last question. This is for Coach Dino and Coach Hammer. Meron kayong 24 seconds each para sumagot. Unahin natin si Dino, okay? Question. If Milwaukee loses, should the Bucks trade Giannis or rebuild around him again? Medyo napag-usapan na nila to kanina, pero sige, expound natin.
Rebuild
around him again. Trade or siya ulit?
Ako, I still believe Giannis is a top 5 player in the NBA. To me, you take out yung mga players na hindi bagay sa kanya. You take out the coach, you take out Coach Doc Rivers, but you build around him. Kasi I still believe he can help you win a championship.
Alright, meron pa siyang time. 1 second. Great. Dito naman tayo kay Coach Hammer. You also have 24 seconds with the same question. Trade Giannis or rebuild around him again? 24 seconds. Now.
46. That's how many years that it took for the Milwaukee Bucks to get into the NBA Finals again when they traded Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor-Date. If it was me, I would have traded Giannis, but he should get as many draft picks as possible. But winners are winners.
Alright. O, diba? Grabe, solid takes mga ka-Sports Plus. Please don't forget to comment also dahil babasahin namin yung mga comments nyo dito. Live na live sa show. Kahit 24 seconds lang, at least ramdam na ramdam natin lahat ng mga insights nitong ating sports analyst. Pero syempre, kahit mainit ang debate, kailangan ready pa rin tayo sa mga susunod na laban. Hindi lang players ang may pressure, pati tayo mga fans, syempre dapat game planado pa rin natin. Kaya kung hindi pa kayo nabitin, para updated pa rin kayo sa buong playoff action, eto na guys, abangan nyo yung mga games na mangyayari bukas at sa mga susunod na araw. So, for tomorrow, Tuesday, this is Philippine time. Abangan nyo yan at 7:30 a.m. It's going to be the Miami Heat versus the
4-0.
Cleveland Cavaliers.
Ayan, 4-0.
Sweep na ba ulit? Lalabas na ba ulit yung broom?
Sweep yan.
And at 10
Ito,
a.m.,
2-2.
we have the Golden State Warriors versus
2-2 yan.
Houston.
Naglaro si Jimmy Butler.
2-2 yan.
3-1 yan.
Pwede.
And of course,
Ito. Anong oras yung laro ng Lakers? Anong oras
Hindi,
yung
sa
laro ng
Wednesday.
Lakers? Oo nga, ito Wednesday
for
tinitignan.
Wala.
Thursday pa. Pwede ka ba pumunta ng Baklaran? Pagdasal mo muna, bro. Sakto Thursday, pumunta. Hindi, punta ka muna. Hindi, sakto yun. Wednesday, Baklaran. Tapos Thursday, punta ka St. Jude. Magtiri ka na ng kandila.
Oy,
Sakto
sakto,
yan,
makakanod na ako ngayon kasi tapos na yung event namin sa school. Tapos
Sakto yan.
medyo makaka-relax ako. Wala akong work ng...
Sakto
pag
yan, sakto
nanonood
yan.
ka ba, mananalo.
Di ka naman mag...
The last 2 games di ako nakanood.
Hindi.
Kaya talo.
Kaya talo.
Hindi.
Kaya kailangan siya pala yung swerte, kailangan
Oo,
manonood daw siya.
Okay lang yan. Okay lang na manood ka basta hindi ka maglalaro. Kasi pag naglaro ka, sure ball. Bakasyon na yun.
Alright, so on Wednesday, these are the games that you are
Thursday
going
pa pala.
to catch. At 6 a.m., we have the Milwaukee Bucks going against Indiana Pacers for Game 5. 7:30 a.m. Grabe, sunod. Detroit going against New York. At 8:30, we have the Orlando versus Boston Celtics. And then at 10 a.m., we have the LA Clippers versus the Denver Nuggets. So those are
Yung
apat na
itong
games.
Clippers team, anong tingin mo rito? Magsi-7 games to. Kung Denver siya, pwede. No? Kasi
Pwede,
pwede, no? Pwede. End
Six
game
or
lang.
seven.
Tsaka yung last 2 games nila, end game lang nagkatalo. Talagang end game lang.
Home court ng Denver sa 5, di ba?
Oo.
If Clippers win Game 5,
Close out na
it
to.
will close out at 6. But if the Clippers win, the Denver Nuggets win Game 5, it will go 7.
Okay yan. Yan ang
Alright.
gusto natin. Parang sa PBA. Yan ang gusto ng mga fans.
Nasa pa rin din ng Lakers yan.
Yan ang gusto ng mga fans. Oo, nasa Boracay na sila noon kaya sa
Oo.
Maldives.
Siguro, init na sa ating viewers. Puro Lakers.
Puro Lakers fan mga Pilipinas eh. Mga Lebron fans eh.
Okay, before we end mga ka-Sports Plus, don't forget to follow us on our socials. Coach Hammer.
Yes, like, follow and share SportsPlus PH on Facebook, Instagram, and on TikTok para hindi kayo mahuli sa pinakabagong sports updates, kwentuhan, at highlights.
And of course, saan pa ba tayo makikita?
Well, for more news and exciting games, visit sportsplus.ph. Araw-araw may bago. Keep locked in, mga ka-Sports Plus. Hindi pa tapos ang mga laban.
Parang Lakers.
Oh!
Grabe, Brad! Brad! Sabi ko sa'yo. Wednesday. Oh, Brad, time-timan mo yung dasal mo. Parang nung nanganak yung asawa ko, time-tim na time-tim
Malapit
yung
ako
dasal
sa
mo.
Domingo Church.
Okay lang yun, Brad. Unahan mo na ngayon, dumaan ka na. Para
Okay,
sa akin,
dahil-
3 days consistent.
Tagal mo na hindi nag-church.
Oo, Brad, magsimba ka. Magsimba ka, Brad. Baka makashoot sa endgame yung Lakers.
Alright guys, mga ka-Sports Plus,
Time para
magkita-kita
sa
tayo
atin.
ulit this coming Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. for another easy lang kwentuhan. Let's talk about the big plays at syempre lahat ng mga usapang basketball, magkita-kita tayo ulit this coming Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. p.m. So once again, guys, this is
SportsPlus Insider.